All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? I am Ace from the West Coast. You are watching the debut show on the ASAP Sports Network that we call Between the Ropes Breakdown. You heard that right. It's called Between the Ropes Breakdown. And all this is pure WWE. That's all we talk about. And who knows, we might hit on some AEW, not today, but coming up soon, we might hit on that. So before we get into that, I'll let you know that tonight I am joined by none other than Mess Around Dave. How's it going tonight, Mess Around?
Not bad, man. How you doing?
And then we have a special guest for you tonight. He goes by the name of Dragon Viper. Why do you think he goes by Dragon Viper? He goes by Dragon Viper. He goes by Dragon Viper because, tell you what, he loves that bad man and Randy Orton. That's right. So, I'm letting you know that tonight's show is actually being brought to you in part by Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. You can actually look her stuff up on paparazziaccessories.com, and the code on that is 160920. I'm sorry I could not pull that up on the screen. I was having some issues with that, but that's okay. Just keep in mind. And so, Dave, why don't you tell everybody, how can they win a shirt? If they want to win a shirt, how can you win an ASAP shirt?
It's quite simple, actually. All you got to do is comment, like, and share. Have the most comments at the end of the month, you get your free t-shirt.
That's right. And as you see on the screen now, even if you cannot hop on the show and comment, hey, you know what? That's completely okay because you still can get a shirt. And all you have to do is pay $25 plus shipping and handling. That's all it's going to cost you. Man, wouldn't you want one of those shirts? Aren't those shirts awesome?
I would.
Absolutely, right? Those shirts are fantastic. All right. So now we'll jump into the show now. So the first thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is we're going to jump into Monday Night Raw. That's why we call it Between the Ropes Breakdown. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about Monday Night Raw. And on this one, I'll go ahead and I'll start out with Mess Around Dave on this one. So, Mess Around, what was something that really stuck out to you on Monday Night Raw?
The fact that none of the teams that they have for Survivor Series, whether it's women's team or the men's team, can coexist. Yeah, they got all the big names, but that team's, I don't know how they're going to even win because they can't even get along. So that's one of the main things that stood out to me.
Dragon Viper, what stood out for you the most on Monday Night Raw?
What stood out most for me would happen to be I guess I guess what stood out to me was the fact that Drew McIntyre is actually going to get another shot before Survivor Series. For the title. That actually shocked me because I didn't know they were going to do that so close to Survivor Series. So I think that kind of stood out for me.
You know, in a way, I would definitely agree with you on that. So what was your guys' thoughts on Randy Orton actually coming out and basically basically getting in the face of The Miz and telling him, you know what, the only reason you can be a WWE champion is because you have a Money in the Bank briefcase. What was your thoughts on that? And I'll go ahead and I'll start with mess around. What was your thoughts on that?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. The only reason The Miz is relevant right now is because he's holding that briefcase, and he's got a show on the USA Network. So he's totally not wrong on that point.
Dragon Viper, what's your takeaway on that?
My takeaway is the fact that, I mean, he's not really fully relevant. I mean, at this point, the only reason why I agree, the only reason why he even has a chance to be champion is because he's got the briefcase, and he wouldn't even have the briefcase if it wasn't for the match he won in. That he cheated in, but
right? Yeah, but like I said, we're not really talking about that whole match right now. So, what was your guys' thoughts? And maybe I'm like the only one who might think this, but think about that 7-man match that they had for the 24/7 championship.
That is the most ridiculous title on the show. Like, how many times is R-Truth going to lose and win that thing? The only reason they had that title is for comedic purposes.
Yeah, and I think R-Truth is like what? He's like a 42-time 24/7 champion or something.
47, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's like a 42 or 47-time champion. It is unreal how many times he's won that belt. So to me, mess around, I completely agree with you at this point. That belt is more of a comedic thing at this point. And what's up, Brandon Herrera? It's good to see you. So, mess around, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a breakdown of some more stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw?
So on Raw, you had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler once again put Lana through the table because they don't want her on the team.
Yeah, so let's talk about that one for a second right there. So when you have Shayna Baszler again versus Lana, I feel like this has kind of been stretched out a little too far because we've seen in the past many times Lana is not a wrestler. She's just not. So I don't know why they keep trying to put her in there when she's they're trying to make her something that she's not, pretty much.
She's more of a manager.
Correct. And I completely agree with you on that. Now, does this surprise you that since the release of Rusev that she didn't also go too?
Not really, because she's still under contract. I mean, she probably is going to leave once her contract runs out, just to be with her husband again. Yeah, I agree with what you said. They're trying to make her into something she's not, kind of like they did with Eva Marie back in the day.
Yeah,
just because she's a pretty face.
Yeah, but when you look at Monday Night Raw too, and I see why they're trying to do this because, as I said before, Rusev is no longer there. So since Rusev is no longer there, they have to have her do something. And I think for like the longest time, how many of you are actually getting sick and tired of watching Lana be the manager of Bobby Lashley?
Oh.
Right?
Boring.
Go ahead, Randy. You want to take that?
What's up?
I was just saying, you want to touch on that, Randy?
It was boring. It was stupid. It made no sense. I mean, here you are, online photos, online social media, showing the storyline was stupid. You have social media photos showing that she's still married to Rusev, that everything's fine, and yet they go and put her in a storyline with Bobby Lashley, and that made no sense. It was an entertainment kind of thing on a sexual adult standpoint, but other than that storyline was boring.
Yeah, And so we actually had a comment here from Brandon Herrera, and this comment actually kind of makes sense. They said, "Can Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax be the female version of LOD?"
I can see it. I mean, you got the big bruiser in Nia Jax, and you got the martial artist and Shayna Baszler that could put you in any hold, and they could really dominate if they were on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we look at this storyline that they're doing right now, like we were talking about, to where yet again they beat down Lana again. I feel like, since we know that they're trying to make Lana into something she's not, I feel like this is kind of a wasted storyline, because you have somebody like Nia Jax that can be a main event star on the Diva side. You have a Shayna Baszler who can also be a main event star on the Diva side. So Brandon Herrera says 42 different people held the 24/7 title for 113 title reigns. R-Truth held is 44 times. Yes. So we were close. I said 42. Randy said 47. But we all know that right now that 24/7 championship is irrelevant. So, okay. So, Dave, you can keep going on your little breakdown of Monday Night Raw there.
Yeah, okay. And then the next thing is the men's AJ Styles being the leader of the Raw group and putting them in a tag match. Braun Strowman and Sheamus against, who was it? I can't remember. Who were the other guys? I can't remember who they went against.
Matt.
They win against Matt Riddle.
Yeah, Riddle.
Yeah, it was Matt Riddle and was it
Keith Lee.
Yeah, and Keith Lee. So when you look at Matt Riddle and Keith Lee, this to me was kind of a interesting match in a way. But do you feel like they might be pushing Matt Riddle a little too hard?
I don't think they're pushing him enough, honestly. I think they're pushing Keith Lee too hard, in my opinion.
So you're actually a fan of Matt Riddle?
I like what he does in the ring. He can wrestle. He's got moves. The only thing he needs to work on is his skills on the mic. He has none right now. Get him a mouthpiece and he'll be fine.
Bro.
Keith Lee I have a problem with.
Yeah,
I think Matt Riddle's annoying.
What?
I think Matt Riddle is very annoying.
So what is it about Matt Riddle that you don't like? And if you want to talk about, was it something he did on Monday Night Raw that bugged you? Or is it just his character in general that kind of bugs you?
It's his character in general. It seems to me that they're trying to make a second RVD. All cool, laid back, all, hey, except he's not saying dude much, he's saying bro, unlike RVD, which said dude, but, they're trying to make a second. Huh?
You can't have another RVD. There's only one.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're trying to make it almost similar to him.
Come on, bro. There you go, Brandon Herrera. Yes. Come on, bro.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. So, Mesra, what was your take on this match?
My take on this match is they mainly did it to fill time, like with a lot of matches, and because they didn't know where else to go with the match, and to put AJ Styles the referee. What I want to see is his little bodyguard guy get in it. That guy's huge.
Yeah. Randy, what was your take on this match?
I agree with Runaround, or Mess Around, sorry. It was just a time filler. They were just filling a spot, trying to kill time. I think it was unnecessary.
Oh, so Brandon Herrera says Matt Riddle's more like Zack Ryder. I don't really see that. I know that I know where he's probably coming from, because when you look at Zack Ryder, he's got the broski stuff, and the shades and everything else. So I think that's where he's coming from when he talks about Matt Riddle being more like a Zack Ryder, which yes and no, I can kind of see that, but I don't know. If one thing is different from Matt Riddle than Zack Ryder, I don't want to say that Zack Ryder didn't have talent, but Matt Riddle actually has a ton of talent.
Right. Agreed.
All right. So mess around, move on. Next thing on Monday Night Raw.
The next thing is the Hurt Business and going after tag titles. Is it next week they're going after those?
Yes, next week.
Yeah. And who did they fight? Oh, last week going against Titus O'Neil.
Again, and yet again, to me, that was just a complete waste.
Yeah. Another time filler thing.
Yeah, because really, how many of you actually thought that Titus O'Neil had a chance in this match? Honestly.
No.
There was no way Titus O'Neil was going to win this match at all. So we don't even really need to touch on that one. Okay, mess around. Go to the next one.
The next one we got, which is really an interesting match, and I thought it was the match of the night, really, in my opinion. And we had Mustafa Ali for Retribution against Ricochet.
Yeah, if I had to grade that match, I'll tell you, it's an A+ only because of the wrestling styles of both individuals. They have some talent. I'll tell you that. Both of them have superstar ability talent. When you look at Mustafa Ali and Ricochet, if you had to pick a side and you had to say which one was better, which one would you choose? Would you choose Ricochet or Mustafa Ali?
You asking me or Dragon Viper?
I'll go with Dragon Viper on this one. Who would you pick?
I'd go for Ricochet. I love his high flying, especially his finisher. But definitely Ricochet.
Mess around?
I like them both. I like them both a lot because their styles are so similar. They're both high flyers. They're both, athletic and acrobatic. I like them both. I can't really pick one or the other.
All right. So what was your takeaway in this match? And I'll go with mess around on this one.
This match, like I said, was the match of the night for me. And I thought that Mustafa Ali really needed the win just to help the Retribution cause to keep that stupid thing going.
So you're not a fan of Retribution, I can tell.
No, I'm not. Not at all. What do you think of them?
Where are they going with Ali's stable? See, and Brandon Herrera, that's actually a good question, because right now, I don't think anybody really knows exactly the direction that they're going in with this stable. A lot of times when you look at WWE, usually you can tell which direction they're going to go one way or another. With this stable, you have no idea where the heck they're going. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to make it bigger. I don't know if somebody's going to turn. And I'll go with Dragon Viper on this one. What do you think?
I can't really tell because they don't. It's almost like when Retribution first came in, I actually liked them because it looked like that they were in there. They tore things down. And then all of a sudden it's almost like they went stale. So, and I don't know. I'd have to say that it's hard to tell. I mean, I can't really tell with the storyline that they're going with it. I mean, maybe they will try and destroy the Hurt Business, or I don't know. It's hard to tell with them. I think they went a little stale.
So, Messeron, what do you think? What direction do you think that they're going?
They have one? Because I don't see one.
No,
Um,
that was my point. They don't have a direction. They're not
No.
going in a certain direction with their stable at all.
the thing is, the reason why I don't like them is it's not so much that I don't like them personally as wrestlers because they got some good talent there. The
Mhm.
reason I don't like it is because we've seen the story time and time again. You had Nexus coming to do the same thing. NWO, it goes all about you just trying to
DX, yep,
regurgitate things.
DX, NWO, Nexus,
The Shield.
The Shield.
Evolution, yep, Evolution,
Yeah.
the Shield, Legacy. All those guys did all this stuff, and when they did that, you kind of knew the direction that they were going. With these guys, you really don't. Okay, so mess around next.
Who was next? Was it Drew McIntyre against Miz and Morrison?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was the main event, right?
Yep. So, what'd you think of this match? And I'll go ahead and I'll start with Dragon Viper. What was your thoughts on this match?
Just to show that, in my opinion, I think this match was to show that Drew McIntyre was more. I don't know. Was more dominant than the Miz. I didn't give much thought to that match because I don't know. It was a waste of a match, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a tag match, wasn't it? Randy Orton was the Miz's partner.
So I just saw a comment really quick. Hold on. So Brandon Herrera actually left a comment that said, could you possibly see a higher power other than Mustafa Ali actually being the leader of this group? Somebody like a Shane O'Mac. If they want to throw a wrench in it, could we potentially see that happening? However, I don't think they're going to go the route of Shane O'Mac. I don't see that. But
I got one for you.
Huh? Okay.
Originally, when this whole thing came about, and I think I know where you're going with this, there were rumors that CM Punk was going to come back and be the leader of that group.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I heard that too.
Yes.
And I thought that would have been kind of cool, but it would have been a waste to use CM Punk's return like that. I think Punk's going to come back. It should be like a Royal Rumble event.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now going back to this main event match, because it was actually a 6-man tag here. So
Yeah.
going back to that match, here's something that I've kind of thought about, because as of late, how we've seen we've seen actually quite a few people turn, especially from face to heel, and we'll get into that more later. Guys like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and etc. Blah blah. So, do you see at some point, because of kind of how long the New Day has been face for so long, do you think at some point that they're going to turn heel, and do you see him turning potentially against Drew McIntyre?
I hope so.
I can see it. I can see New Day because they've been a heel tag team before. They haven't always been face tag team, so they bounced back so much. But I mean, for the past couple of years, they've been a face tag team. So,
Well,
but
yeah. Yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
so, when you're talking about that, and you're talking about a potential change here, and you're talking about changing from face to heel, something that could potentially happen when you're talking about a rematch between Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, what's to make you think that the New Day is not going to come in and cost Drew McIntyre his shot in the rematch?
The only reason I don't see that happening is because I think the higher ups want to see Roman against Drew at the Survivor Series. So I think Drew's going to win that match because that's the match that they want to see.
Which now since we just finished up Raw, that'll be a good transition now, jumping over to SmackDown. And now you're talking about the whole Drew McIntyre versus Roman thing. So obviously you saw that Drew McIntyre showed up on SmackDown.
Right.
To invade Roman Reigns' territory.
Yeah, and if they go ahead and do that, it's going to make me mad. I'm big. I'm like the Dragon Viper. I'm a big Orton fan, so I don't want to see it happen.
You know, I, for one, and I'll agree with you guys on that, because I've always said I am not a Roman Reigns fan. I've never been a Reigns fan. It's just something about him. Just something about him just rubs me the wrong way. I'm not a Reigns fan at all. I've never liked the guy. I probably never will. It's weird for me to say too, but I've never really been a Drew McIntyre fan also. So the strange thing about it is, so people might ask me, and be like, so what kind of superstars do you like? So my thing on this is the type of superstars I like, and Mess Around and Dragon Viper, you might agree with me on this too, but the kind of guys I like are actually guys with in-ring talent. So I'm talking about guys like Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, people who can actually get in the ring and actually perform and put on a good match, as opposed to like guys like Roman Reigns who can get in the ring and do like his 3 moves or his 5 moves. That's just not something. That's just not something that I want to see, on a weekly basis. I actually want to see a decent match.
Right. For some reason, Vince really likes those big guys that have what we call the 5 moves of doom.
Mm-hmm.
They only have 5 moves they use every match, and Vince really seems to like those guys. So, but like you said, I like guys that can get in, they can perform, they can move around and fly, and not only that, they can talk on the mic. They don't need a mouthpiece.
So, the big thing that I want to touch on this show on SmackDown, I think Dragon Viper, I think you know where I'm going with this, because you mentioned it right before we came live. The big thing I want to touch on, because I think it was the most important part of SmackDown, was the turn. And you know what I'm talking about. The Buddy Murphy turning on Seth Rollins. I think that was probably the biggest thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown. How many of you, Mess Around, did you see it coming?
It's been building for weeks, months, dude. I think everybody saw it coming.
But did you see it happening on SmackDown?
I did not. I didn't see it happening there. I thought they were going to use it for like a pay-per-view event, a special event, not on like a SmackDown.
Well, especially Survivor Series.
Right.
Yeah, which I completely agree on that. I thought that, if they're going to do a turn, if they're going to do something like that, they need to make it at a pay-per-view. Because as we know, Mysterio ended up winning this match because of the simple fact that Buddy Murphy had turned on Seth Rollins. Did you guys like the whole storyline that they had Buddy Murphy basically with Mysterio's daughter?
Go ahead, Dragon Viper.
No? Doesn't sound like you liked it. So Mess Around, how about you?
I was okay with it. I know they caught a lot of backlash for it because he was kissing a 19-year-old girl and he's in his 30s and 40s. Like, it's part of a storyline. What does it matter? It's first show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so as Brandon Herrera saying, he's saying that he could see him turning on the family again. So he doesn't see that he doesn't think that this is going to be Murphy's last turn. He feels like there's going to be another turn. And so with your thing with Dominic and Murphy teaming up, yes, I do see it. I see them in a tag team. And I think that if there's going to be a turn at some point, that might be the time where Murphy turns back again.
Yep.
Just saying. Maybe Rollins comes out again and says, I am the Messiah, so I am going to get you back on my side. You are my disciple, so you follow me. And so I feel like maybe that might be the turn that Murphy might change again. What do you guys think on that?
I see it.
So. Yeah. And especially with Murphy and Dominic teaming up, I could see him turning right then.
But I do want to say one thing about this. basically this long, drawn out, and I mean long, drawn out feud that they've done. This feud has gone on for a very, very long time. And I think it is probably time to basically flip the script. I don't know if you guys saw, but Seth Rollins plans on taking some time off because, as we know, Becky Lynch is pregnant. So maybe that this was a segue into being like, okay, Murphy turned on Rollins, so now Rollins wants to take some time off because Murphy turned. That is a possibility.
Yeah, I know they talked about him taking time off soon. I think it was like he was going to start taking it off next month for the birth of his kid.
Yeah.
So what a perfect way to go out and then come back and get either revenge on Murphy or get Murphy to come back.
So where do you think they go from here in this storyline, especially at the pay-per-view? What do you think?
I think they'll probably end up having the Rollins versus Murphy match. It's Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I could definitely see that.
excuse me, Rollins is on the men's tag team, so.
But that doesn't mean, keep in mind though, that doesn't mean it can't change. Well, I'm not saying change, but I'm saying maybe Rollins comes out again and says, hey, I'll wrestle again on that night. We've seen it before.
He's done it before, yeah. Yeah, it's been done before.
Seen it before.
I
just thought I'd
actually
do that before somebody corrected me.
I actually just got done watching SmackDown, and it actually says that Murphy is to face Seth Rollins next Friday.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing. Brandon Herrera is also saying here's something that he just thought of. What if Ray pushes Murphy more and Dominic gets jealous and he turns?
Brandon, you should be a writer for WWE, dude. That is genius.
Right?
I didn't even think of that one.
That would be. I think that might be something that could potentially work, because some of these storylines get old and stale.
Right? Yeah, I can see that happening. I didn't even think about that. Good one, Brandon.
So I think that was the main thing that we're going to talk about between Raw and SmackDown. So now we'll jump into our next topic of the night, and the first one that we will talk about. And I'm not going to go in any particular order on these things. So I'm just going to say the first topic that we're going to talk about is what superstar that passed would you like to have back now? And I'll go ahead and I'll start with this one because this one to me was really, really easy. This was a no-brainer. To me, if I could have any superstar back that passed, it's got to be Eddie Guerrero. I don't know how you would not want Eddie Guerrero back. And here's my reason why. When you look at Eddie Guerrero, to me, when he died, that was like the worst time for his death because people were finally starting to see who Eddie Guerrero actually was and the talent that Eddie Guerrero was. He was finally able to build up from that mid card up to main event card. And he was finally getting there. And then what happens? He dies. So I'm like, yes, I would love to have Eddie Guerrero come back because to me, he deserved more of that main event status. He's earned that. So Dragon Viper, I'll go to you.
Mine is going to be an unpopular decision, but I would choose Chris Benoit.
Ooh.
Unpopular decision, I'm aware, but I do choose him. Because,
Go ahead. Nope.
Because he was actually going along the same with Eddie Guerrero. You know, he was making it to that event status or main event status. He was, doing very well. Maybe not behind the scenes, maybe not at home, but in the ring, he was. I mean, all those years in WCW and ECW, he was still doing really great, in my opinion. And unpopular decision, I understand, because of the circumstances, but I choose him.
And that was why I could not go with Chris Benoit. Originally, I was like, I would love to have Benoit back, but that's why I could not go with Benoit based off of circumstance. That was why I couldn't pick him. So for that, I'll go with Mess Around.
So originally I picked the same as you did, Eddie Guerrero. It's the obvious answer. But since you picked that one, I'm going to throw out another name. I'm going to go with Owen Hart, who happened to die while
Okay.
going to the ring. And that guy was one of the most talented dudes that never got a chance to get up there. They had him doing stupid things like the Blue Blazer thing, which he died performing that. So I'm going to go with Owen Hart on that one since you took mine. You took Eddie Guerrero. So.
You know, and I'm kind of with you on that. I feel like there was so much more that they could have done with Owen Hart that they did not do.
Yeah.
That guy had all the talent in the world, and I feel like they did not utilize his talent enough like they should have.
For sure. He was buried in the shadow of his brother for forever.
Yeah.
And just when his brother left to go to WCW, they finally had a chance to do something with him, but they didn't. They had him doing that stupid Blue Blazer crap,
Mm-hmm.
and he died coming down from the zip line thing, hit the post. So there was an opportunity with him.
Oh. Now going on to the next one, we're gonna say who our favorite diva is and why. I think we all know where I'm going with this one. Mess around, you probably know where I'm going with my favorite diva because it was never specified. We never said, is it our favorite diva now or is it our favorite diva of all time? But I went ahead and I was like, you know what? I'll just say who my favorite diva is right now. And my favorite diva right now is none other than Alexa Bliss. And how could it not be Alexa Bliss? Alexa Bliss is a diva that can do anything and everything. Any character you give her, she can take the ball and she can run with it. She can be face. She can be heel. Look what she's done with Bray Wyatt. She's been magnificent with Bray Wyatt. I didn't know how well she could take this character, but she has. She's taken it. She's ran with it. And she's been magnificent. Now, if you were to ask me who my favorite diva is of all time, boy, that would be tough. Because there was one other diva that I liked a lot besides Alexa Bliss. And mess around, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about.
AJ Lee.
AJ Lee. AJ Lee was another diva that I really, really liked. She had skill. The Black Widow. How could you not? The Black Widow. She was fantastic. So mess around. Who's your favorite?
My favorite now or favorite of all time?
Both.
Either way. It didn't matter.
My favorite of all time is just who you talked about, AJ Lee.
Mm-hmm.
For all the reasons you just said. I mean, if she hadn't taken her ball and ran home like her husband did, there's no telling how many titles she could have had or held. She was that talented. I mean, that move, the Black Widow, my God, that was a cool move.
All right. Who's your favorite now?
My favorite now? Oh, it's got to go with the goddess.
There you go.
Like Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss. The goddess. What? So before we get Randy's answer, I have to know because this is kind of a big thing that people like to talk about. And that's my wife that's actually commenting. She said her favorite is Trish Stratus, which Trish Stratus wasn't bad. She had talent. But before we move on, did you guys have best diva, Sable or Trish Stratus? It was Trish Stratus. She was better. I'm sorry. In my opinion, she was better than Sable.
Yeah.
So going on to that, if you guys had your top 5 list, would you put Charlotte Flair in it?
Nope.
No.
Not gonna do it.
No, you're saying you couldn't do it.
No, because she's riding off Daddy's curtain tails. If it wasn't for Daddy, she wouldn't get where she'd gotten. You know, she's just a name. Her last name carries her to where she is. Yeah, she's talented. She has moves, but
all right. So Randy, who's your favorite diva?
Currently, of course, Alexa. And of all time, I'd actually have to say Lita.
Lita's not a bad choice. She has talent. But I just didn't like I would say the only knock that I really had on Lita, I just didn't like her character all that much. That was the only thing. And Brandon Herrera, if you're talking about Charlotte Flair, I concur on that. Because I don't look at whether she's riding the coattails of her dad or Ric Flair. I'm looking at pure talent wise, and she does have the talent. All right.
Oh, I didn't say she didn't. She does have talent. I get that.
Right.
She does.
Uh-huh.
But I don't
Yeah.
think she would have gotten as far as she has so far if it wasn't for her dad and the name.
Potentially, but you never know, because like we've been saying, she has a talent. She has the talent to show that she's got the goods to be in this industry, and she's got the goods to show that she can be champion and take the ball and basically be like, hey, this is my court, this is my ring, I'm the champion, and she can show that. She's done it time and time again. All right, so going on to our next topic of the night. I've been waiting on this one all night because I think a lot of us are going to go different routes on this one, and that's our top 5 best tag teams of all time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with Mess Around on this one because I'm really curious where you went with this.
Okay, so all of my guys are from the old days. These are old time tag teams here.
Uh-huh.
Number 5, you can't have a list without the Dudley Boys. You just can't. What they did, Diva, get the tables.
Right.
Does it. And then number 4, I got Edge and Christian. How can you not put them on the list? And number 3, the Hardy Boys. Number 2 might shock you guys. You probably don't have this on your list, but the Hart Foundation. Love the Hart Foundation. One of my favorites of all time. So number 1, obviously, Legion of Doom.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. I'm shocked. I'm shocked because I think we're kind of thinking along the same route here, but I'll go ahead and go with Dragon Viper on this. And Brandon Herrera says if you're going to go that route with Charlotte Flair, you can also say that about The Rock too.
I agree.
No, he's not saying that The Rock accomplished that because of who he was related to. They're saying all the people that are related to The Rock.
No, I know, and I agree. Okay. A lot of them wouldn't have gotten where they are unless it was for The Rock.
Yeah, completely agree with that one. So Dragon Viper, go ahead and give me your top 5.
All right. Number 5 would be the New Age Outlaws. Number 4 would be DX. Number 3, I'd have to say would be the Hardy Boys. Number 2, yeah, it got a little tougher, but I'd have to say Rock and Sock Connection. That's it. And my number 1 all-time favorite tag team is the Brothers of Destruction.
Whew. Now, one thing I'm really confused about here, and I think Mess Around's going to feel the same way with me on this. How in the world, I want to know, how in the world can you not have LOD on your list of top 5 tag teams of all time?
Right.
I don't understand that. How can you not have them in your top 5 list?
LOD and the Rock and Sock Connection were kind of the same in there, but if I had number 6, LOD would be in there.
So let me get this straight. You put the Rock and Sock Connection at what number?
I think 3.
Okay, so you put them at number 3, and you said that LOD was right by the Rock and Sock Connection. So if they're right by the Rock and Sock Connection at number 3, and you put them at number 3, how can you put LOD at number 6 and have 2 more tag teams in front of them if they're right up there with the Rock and Sock Connection? I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure this out. That doesn't make any sense.
I messed my list up.
What?
I messed my list up.
I will say, that's why I called you on that, because I'll say, you messed your list up, because I was going to say, I don't know how you do not have LOD in the top 5. That is blasphemous. That was absolutely blasphemous on that one. So Brandon Herrera actually said what his top 5 was. Where is it? Brandon Herrera's top 5 is actually number 5 is the Hart Foundation, the Freebirds, the Dudley Boys, the Hardys, and LOD. We have quite a few of the same ones. Just a few different though. My number 5 on that one was actually the Brothers of Destruction. And Metzron, you should not be surprised that I put them in my top 5, only based upon who my favorite wrestler was.
Because of Kane, I'm not surprised.
Because of Kane. That is why. Because he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time was Kane. So that's why I had to put him at number 5, because the Brothers of Destruction, I love them. They were fantastic. Number 4, you cannot leave the Hardy Boys out of your top 5. You just can't. Because look at what they've done in the tag team era. They have revolutionized the tag team era. The Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian basically made tag teams what they were what they are now. They showed you what tag teams are supposed to be like. Especially, they created the TLC match. They had some awesome TLC matches. I love to go back and watch those on the network, because I'll tell you what, those matches were all-star matches, man. They put everything on the line out there. So you had to put, and that's where it became hard, because I'm like, do I want to put the Hardys at number 4? Do I want to put them at 3? Do I want to put them? It was so hard because I had to put the Dudley Boys in there too. So I put them at number 3. And then I have Edge and Christian.
Don't turn the camera on.
And then with my first one, I had to go with LOD. And yes, Brandon Herrera, besides The Rock, I will say besides The Rock, my favorite was Kane. He's always been one of my favorites. And you laugh, Randy. You give me that look. Tell me, what will you not respect about Kane?
What wouldn't I respect?
Tell me what you don't respect about Kane.
I respect everything about Kane. I just wouldn't say he's a favorite of mine. Not one of the favorites.
I'm not saying you have to say he's your favorite, but I'm saying you got to respect the guy for what he's done in his career and how big of a part he's been in this company. All right.
Okay,
LOD number 1. We all know that number 1, and Edge and Christian had to be in that list basically off what they have accomplished in their career, along with the Dudleys and Hardys. So for those of you that have Edge and Christian and the Dudleys and the Hardys in your top 5, it's going to be hard to say which one's 4, which one's 3, which one's 2, because they're basically the same tag team. They've all accomplished so much. You could put them in either order. The only reason that I put Edge and Christian at number 2 is because of what Edge and actual Christian have accomplished in the single way too. I know Jeff Hardy's been a champion, but Edge was a multiple-time champion, heavyweight champion, and WWE champion.
Okay, so my son is a big wrestling guy. He loves it just as much as we do. And I told him that he can come on here and give his list of 5. So Dave,
okay.
Okay. I don't know if I should start at 1 or 5.
Start at 5, work your way up.
Okay. Number 5 is The Shield.
The Shield, okay.
Number 4 is The Usos.
Okay, what's number 3? Number 3 is Rock and Talk. And what's your number 2?
Dudley Boys.
Dudley Boys, what's your number 1?
DX.
He's going with DX for his number 1.
And that's a good list. And so, Randy, going back to you for a second when you hit on DX, here's why I did not have DX in my top 5. And I talked a little bit about this with Mess Around on Saturday. The only reason why I don't think we both had DX in our top 5, and we're not denying that the talent that they've had and the stuff that they've accomplished in their career, because they have accomplished a lot in their career. But when we talked about tag teams, when you first look at DX, they had multiple members of DX. So they had Triple H, Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and X-Pac. So they had all these members, and so we're like, can we classify them as a tag team? Later on, you could, because the only people that were DX then at that point years later was Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So if you're going based off that, then yes, you could potentially put them in your top 5. But that's the point to where we're like, what do you do? Which route do you go? Because DX was a faction, but they were also a tag team at one point. So which way do you go with that?
It's the Shawn Michaels and Triple H one when they were a tag team.
Okay, and I totally respect that. And then when you look at the NWO wise, NWO was also one of those factions too. So that's why I was just curious where you were going when you said NWO. Which way were you going with that one?
I didn't say NWO.
I thought you did. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
No, you did not. Okay. I thought you said NWO. But yeah, so because when you look at NWO, yeah, with the members that they had, they were talented also. But that's why we're like, we can't really put them in the top 5 because they were a faction. And I don't.
Well, when I mentioned DX, I also mentioned the New Age Outlaws. So I made sure I wasn't naming the faction itself. I was just naming the actual tag team.
Yeah, which I completely agree with you on that one. That's not. I'm not denying that one. Okay, so the next topic we have is what current superstar do you think is going to get the next push, or should I say, basically deserves the next push? And I'll go ahead and I'll start out with the Dragon Viper on this one.
I think it would be Keith Lee because he is a big man, but he is very agile. He's very athletic and moves around very well in the ring.
Keith Lee. Wow, I was not expecting that, but okay. I respect it, but I was not expecting it.
Respect.
Mess around.
I'm going to go with Big E Langston. Big E from the New Day. Only because we have not seen what this guy can do on his own. He's a big powerhouse guy. He's athletic. He can move. He's funny. He's good on the mic. He's got skills. And he's been doing it for a while. He deserves a push.
Now, I agree with you on that. And I think it's kind of one of those things when you look at Big E, every time he's never really had that individual chance because he's basically always been teamed up with somebody, whether it's Ziggler or New Day or just teaming up with somebody random. That's kind of how he's been his whole entire career. And Brandon Herrera, Randy, Keith Lee, he agrees with you on Keith Lee. Mess around. He also agrees with you on Big E. The one person I'm going to say, and maybe we often forget about it, and maybe you guys don't agree with me, and maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but that is okay. The one guy that I would like to see get a push because he's done so much for this company, and he has proven time and time again that he's got the talent to be a top superstar in this company, but I feel like he's disrespected a lot, and that is Mr. Dolph Ziggler. The dude deserves another push in this company. And Randy, you can laugh. You laugh if you want.
I like it. I like the pick. I do. That's a great one.
But tell me how he does not deserve a push in this company.
Dude, like for all the reasons you said, the guy bent over backwards. He's jobbed to mid-card guys. He's put people over. He's done so many things for this company. And he's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's got skills. He definitely deserves a push. Another one.
Absolutely. Because his push that he got was years ago. I mean, years ago. It's so irrelevant at this point that it's like, okay, yeah, he was a heavyweight champ, but that was so long ago, it doesn't even matter. But the dude deserves a push because of everything he's done for this company. And I'm just, and at times it just makes me angry that I feel like the guy is basically taken for granted because I don't know why. I don't know why they don't give Dolph a push. I've never understood that.
I don't get it either.
What?
I don't get it either. I mean, last time he had a title, he beat Alberto Del Rio. Come on now.
Yes, when he cashed in Money in the Bank.
Right.
And now, if you keep in mind, he did win the United States title, but then what happened after that? It was a joke after that, and they made him come in and put the belt down in the ring and basically walk away and vacate the belt.
Right.
So Brandon Herrera saying that they need to bring up Adam Cole for a push.
I agree.
The thing is, right now, there's so many guys in this industry right now that you could give a big push to. There really is. There's guys who've been around for so long, and so I want to get you guys' opinion on something. I want to see if we're on the same page here, because we talk about guys who's bent over backwards for this company, been there for a long time for the company. We finally, as of late, saw Kofi Kingston win a title, which was well deserved after so long in that company. What do you guys think about R-Truth?
If they stop making him a joke and actually put him back to, on a run for an actual title, but they keep making him look like a joke.
No, so maybe you weren't quite understanding what I was saying. What I was saying was, based off his talent and what he's done for this company, not being on the joke wise of the character he's doing now, do you think at some point that R-Truth should have won a title because he deserved it?
Yes.
Could I say something?
What do you want to say?
So talking about R-Truth, something that one title that he haven't held, that with Xavier Woods' help is the tag team title.
Oh, so you think it should be a tag team champion?
Yes.
Okay. So mess around. Going to you now. Do you also believe that R-Truth should have won a title?
Absolutely. I'm maybe years ago, but not now. Now he's too defined in his role, and once he gets stuck as that labeled as a comedic wrestler, you can't really get out of that. So he's stuck where he's at now, but years ago, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask this. Mess around. Do you don't think they can actually change it to where he can be a serious superstar again and go for a title?
I don't think he wants to. I think he really enjoys playing the role he plays now.
Okay. So with that being said, what Brandon Herrera is also saying too, would us three agree that there could be too much talent and not enough time to develop great storylines? And you know what? I completely agree with that, because when you look at certain guys, when you look at certain individuals, especially in the NXT side, it's hard for them at times to bring them up because WWE goes, we don't have anything for them. And so they sit in NXT for so long to develop because there's nothing out there. And maybe sometimes it's not because there's too much talent. It's just because, to me, my honest opinion is sometimes I feel like WWE doesn't know how to utilize the talent that they have.
Well, you got a prime example in Finn Balor, who came up and got a push, and then they didn't have a spot for him, so they sent him back down to NXT.
Yeah, he won that belt one time and then had to vacate it because of injury, and he never even got a rematch.
No. So he's a prime example of wasted opportunity, wasted stuff they could have done with him. Not enough space for him, so they sent him back down.
And I completely agree with you on that one. Okay, so now we're almost at that hour mark. So since we're at that mark, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start out with mess around on this one. And I'm going to say you get 30 seconds to finish up with whatever it is left you have to say.
I just want to say that if they take the title of Randy Orton already, I'm gonna be mad. It'd be so dumb. He just got it. I know they want to see McIntyre against Reigns, but who wants to see that? We saw it at WrestleMania 2 years ago.
Okay. Dragon Viper, you got 30 seconds to finish up whatever it is you have left to say.
Yeah, I totally agree. Orton needs to have it for a while, especially with it being his 14th title. If I could remember correctly, Orton, every time he won the title, I don't recall him having it very long all the other times. So they really need to keep that title on Orton for a little while longer before they give it to someone else.
So Brent Herrera says his fantasy team is the Demon Valor and the Fiend. I think that would be excellent. You know, I think that would. Dude, this guy should be writing for WWE, man.
I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
This guy has some brilliant ideas. Like his ideas are so brilliant. Like I feel like at some point he needs to be on the show, you know, to come in and make an appearance on the show, or something, because this guy has some brilliant ideas, and I would like to hear his fantastic ideas, because we've all talked before and we've said, hey, we have ideas too, but you know, we're not WWE, and if we went up to them and told them our ideas, we'd probably get laughed at. So
Right.
You know, it is what it is. So with that being said, I hope everybody enjoyed our first episode of Between the Ropes Breakdown. You will see us again next Sunday night after the post-game show. And I hope to see everybody again then. And next week, we'll have some awesome topics again. So you will see me, Mess Around, and Dragon Viper again next week. So I hope everybody has a great night, and we'll see you again. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.